everybody, welcome to episode 39 of the Inspired Knitting Podcast. I'm your host Bobby and I am coming to you from New Brunswick, Canada. Today is Sunday, March the 3rd, 2019. It's been quite a while. If you are tuning in for the very first time, welcome. And if you are a returning viewer, welcome back. This is a podcast mostly about my knitting adventures. I do get into other things such as crocheting and sewing and spinning and all the things that you can get into trouble with. But mostly lately it's just been knitting, so yes. I believe the last time I podcasted it was like back in November. And I have had several of my subscribers message me and ask me if I am okay, and I very much appreciate that. I love you guys so much. I am doing fine. I just needed a little bit of a break away from social media of sorts, and I'm doing much better. And yeah, I am ready to be back. So, like all things, especially for me when it comes to podcasting, when you don't podcast for a while, it takes a little bit to get back into it. So, I've technically been ready to podcast for a couple weeks now, but every time it comes about to do it, it gets pushed off to the next day and the next day, and the next day can turn into a month or so. So, regardless, I am trying to get back on track here because I do very much enjoy podcasting and I do very much enjoy interacting with you all, so yes. If you don't know the details, I should have said this at the beginning. You can find me on Instagram as Inspired Knitting Podcast. You can also find me over on Ravelry as X Country Girl 1986X, and I also have a group over there too for the podcast. It's the Inspired Knitting Podcast. And let me see here. If you wish to contact me for any reason, you can do so via email at sweetcomfortdesigns@gmail.com. I will have all that in the down bar below. So, what have I been up to? I've been knitting a lot of shawls. So, last year, I wanted to start the Make 9 last year, and I actually did do a video of my Make 9, and I don't think I even did anything on it, if I remember correctly. I am very bad for that. I don't like making goals or commitments that way because new shiny things show up and I get distracted by them and I never do it. So I'm not going to do the Make 9 this year. But something I do remember saying last year, that 2018 was going to be the year of the sweaters and the shawls. Well, I did start a cardigan, the Big Old Coat by Joji Locatelli, and I did not finish it as I had hoped. Currently, right now, I have separated for the sleeves because it's worked top down, and I have been working on it slowly, little bits being put on it at a time, so it's coming along. I'm not going to show it today just because there ain't a lot of progress on it, but it's still on the go. But I can say one thing for sure, the shawls have definitely been happening, and they are a bit of an addiction. As you can see, I have one back here. That is the Granny's Geraniums, which is by Nordic Stitches. And Nordic Stitches, I forgot her name. I haven't been watching as many podcasts lately, just because of life's been busy. But I want to say her name's Ellie. I'm probably wrong, and if I am, I'm so sorry. But she's a beautiful person. She's so lovely, and she makes the most amazing designs. This shawl is one of them, and she does beautiful color work. You really need to check her out, and her podcast is amazing too. Nordic Stitches here on YouTube as well as Ravelry. So do go check her out. And yes, I got a lot of stuff to show today, so let's get on into it. I am going to start off with the shawl that I am wearing, and I saw Sarah from Cozyupknits. She did this one, and I don't know if I want to take it off, but I will. This is the Galiano shawl, and this shawl is by Gillard. It's a worsted weight shawl, and as you can see, it's got these beautiful eyelets. It is a triangle, worsted weight, and it comes down to this beautiful lace panel here, and then it finishes off in some ribbing. So beautiful. I really do love this shawl, and I really do love the Barocco vintage. I have heard a Barocco vintage before, but I have never used it, and I have to thank my friend for this, my bestie. I have to thank her for this, for enabling me on it. Our local yarn store, Cricket Cove. I'm just going to try to put this back on. They have a beautiful wall of color, and it's all Barocco. And oh my gosh, it's the highlight. As soon as you walk into the store, they have like this whole wall that has the Barocco yarns, and oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. Although I have seen it many times, I've never used it. I don't know why, but she ended up using it in a project, and I was like, wow, I really love that yarn. And it's 52% acrylic, 40% wool, and 8% nylon, and it's really nice, guys. I'm a skeptic sometimes when it comes to acrylic. I love acrylic yarns, but I will say I am a yarn snob to a point. So I don't like anything that's rough, but this yarn is very nice. It's super soft. It's still got that woolly feel as well. Like, you could tell that there is wool in it, and it just blocks out beautifully as well. So if you've never used vintage before, I do highly recommend it. It's a beautiful yarn. So for the purple, it's Marlot. I think that's how you pronounce it. M-E-R-L-O-T. And the color number is 5148. And it's just this beautiful purple. And then the lace panel is actually something I got for Christmas. My best friend Shelby ended up presenting me with this beautiful skein of Madeline Tosh worsted, and I will admit I almost cried, because what is better than getting one of your favorite yarns for Christmas? And she nailed it. She knows me so well. I don't know what the colorway name is, because the ball band kind of got lost. I knit this back in, well, I got it for Christmas and I casted it on almost right away, but I don't even know if you can tell. Yes, you can. It's just like a natural base, and then it's got the specks of black in it. It's very subtle and very beautiful. I love it. So, yes, it's very nice. I don't remember the colorway, but if I can find it, if I can find the ball band, I will put it on my Ravelry page. But yes, so beautiful. Love it. And I do recommend this pattern. I think this took me a month to make, but that was doing other stuff at the same time. But this shawl is very quick to knit. It keeps your attention, because up here you got the eyelets, which are easy, and this lace panel is not hard at all. It's actually very easy to remember as you get going. So yes, I really do love this shawl. So again, that's the Galiano shawl by Gillard. The next one, I've had this one done for a while now. I believe I finished this back in the fall. I never showed it because it needed to be washed and blocked, and it just got set aside, and I almost forgot about it. But I did a little bit of a yarn cleanup, like I have a yarn shelf. So I did a bit of a cleanup and I found it sitting there in a box and I thought, okay, it's time to take it out and it's time to wash it and show it. So you guys might have seen this before, probably seen it last summer, I think. But this is the Triple Treat Shawl by Cozyupknits. And I did the crescent shape one. And yeah, it is all done. It is super long. And I really do enjoy it. It's very nice. I really like the eyelets, and it's got those beautiful drop stitches. So nice. So yeah, I don't know what the yarn is for this. This is a yarn that I had picked up, I think 3 years ago. It was at Cricket Cove, the Cricket Cove that's in Fredericton. And of course I don't have the ball band to it anymore. I have had several moves in between that time. So things get lost. But I do remember that this was 100% BFL base, and it was a hand-dyed yarn that was, I believe, hand-dyed in Nova Scotia, Canada. So I really cannot tell you what the maker was, which I feel bad about that. However, if you were to look back at my podcast from like 3 years ago or so, I might have showed this yarn. I can't remember now, but regardless, it's super beautiful. And if you've been watching me for a while, you can tell that I have a new camera. I upgraded my phone, and I am so happy because now I can actually show you the true colors of green stuff, and it's no longer lime green. I'm so happy. My old camera was showing up everything lime green, so this is super exciting. But there you go, the Triple Treat Shawl by Cozyupknits. The Triple Treat is actually, they're all three shawls. There's 3 shawls in one pattern. They all got the same concept of patterning. The only difference is that one is a crescent, one is a triangle, and then the other one is an asymmetrical shape. So highly recommend it. It's super nice. I probably could have stretched this lace out a little bit more than I did, and my ends, I don't know if you noticed, I ended up putting like these little points on them. That wasn't quite intentional, but I need to get some blocking wires to truly get the shape of a crescent, because I don't have any blocking wires right now, and I was finding it extremely hard with just the T-pins to kind of get that shape going. So yeah, I'm gonna have to invest in some soon to do this a little bit better. But there we go. I super love it. I don't know if I'm gonna keep it. It might be a gift for somebody. I'm not sure yet. I like bigger shawls, so I don't know. We'll see. So there's that one. The next shawl, I told you there was lots of shawls. The next shawl I have to share with you is the Twinned Up Cowl by Cozyupknits. It was the Twinned Up Shawl by Cozyupknits. And this was, oh my gosh, words, Bobby, words. It was the knit-along, mystery knit-along that started January 1st and ended on February the 14th of this year. It was their annual mystery knit-along. And yeah, here it is. I ended up making, I do have issues with my shawl. So again, I would like to try to get my point down here. Oh, I'm getting mixed up in the other shawl here. It comes down into, it is like a deep triangular shawl. And I think it has a super cute and cool construction. You start off with the center panel here, and then it comes down into that point, and then you're picking up stitches along here, along your first panel, and then you're knitting the wings separately. I call them wings. And you're knitting them separately, and they come down into tips. So you're doing what you have done here in the center panel. You're pretty much matching for the wings. So we got this beautiful bumpy section. We got some ribby eyelets, and I love this section. It is so beautiful. And then we got some more. And these sections, the stockinette pushback, I think that's what they called them. These were a lot of fun to do as well. And I think they are so pretty. And then it just ends down. So I did mine the way that the pattern was written. So as you can tell, this side I started with the purple, and this side I started with the harvest, which is my gold color. So you're doing the same patterning, but you're changing up the colors, as you can tell. So I really, really like this shawl. But like I said, I would like to get some blocking wires, because I need to fix my little tip here. It just doesn't look quite right. I did mess up on this because I wasn't sure how... we knew it was going to be a shawl, but we didn't know the shape of it. So I wasn't 100% sure on what shape it was going to be. And when I started to do this bumpy section here, I end up messing up. So I kind of got like this little bump here of fabric, because I was accidentally adding this, like fudging the stitches in that I didn't have. Somehow I lost stitches somehow. Regardless, I messed up on a few spots in the shawl, but it's okay. I don't really mind. I still really love it, and I've actually been getting a lot of wear out of it. It's super huge, and it's super cozy, and I've been wearing it a ton, so I love it regardless. So let's go over the colors. This is all Midnight Cravings yarn. And if you guys have not used their yarn, you really need to go over to their website and check them out, because I love their yarn. I don't remember the base. It is a superwash merino nylon base, but I don't have the tags on me right now. But, or do I? One second. Actually, I do. I'll just pull one of them out though. Midnight Cravings. And it's their Sweet Sock base, 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and it's 115 gram skein, 425 yards. So all three of them are the same. Focus. Okay, it's not wanting to focus. Oh well. Regardless. This gold color is Harvest. We got this beautiful speckle, which I love. That's Tapas Bar. And then the purple is Velvet Plum. And yes, I just love it. Actually, the middle panel here, it actually has this beautiful texture here. I can't remember what it's called now. But I've never done it before. It looked intimidating at first, but Sarah and Jamie did a wonderful video on the first tutorial for the shawl, and they showed how to do it, so don't be intimidated by it if you get the pattern. It was super easy, and I think it looks awesome. I really love that. But yes, there we go. That's my Twin It Up shawl. I had a lot of fun knitting along. I did end up knitting it in time for the 14th, which was pretty awesome. I was a little nervous. It is a 3-skein shawl, so it's pretty massive, and you do use up a lot of your yarn. So these skeins were 425 yards. I ended up with just little bits. I didn't put them on my scale to see how much I had left, but I didn't have much left at all. I definitely had enough to finish it without having to really worry about running out, but I don't really have a lot left over to do anything with, but that's fine. I actually like that. So yes, I do recommend this pattern to y'all, and like I said, I do recommend that you check out Midnight Cravings, because just tapas bar. I mean, look at that. It's like a gray base with purple and gold specks in it. So pretty. So pretty. So that is that. And the Twin It Up shawl is now released as a full pattern as well. So you can head over to Cozyupknits and you can get the whole pattern. So that is that. And let's see. I have a couple hats that I have been working on as well. And the first one is a hat that I started. It was using up scraps from my Galiano shawl. So this is the Broco Vintage worsted in the Merlot colorway, or M-E-R-L-O-T. I'm terrible at pronunciation, but it's color number 5148. And here is the pattern. I did wash and block this. This is tied in knots, and I'm not going to pronounce the designer's name because I am afraid that I am going to butcher it. So I will insert it down here. But it's this beautiful, beautiful cabled hat. And it is not hard at all. Again, it might look a little intimidating, but it really isn't. It's super pretty, and I really love the top shaping of the hat. I think it's beautiful. So I contemplated on whether or not I wanted to put a pom-pom on it. In the end, I decided not to. I think it's just beautiful the way that it is. So yeah, this pattern, or sorry, this hat, I decided to keep for myself. I'm not really a hat person, but I actually really enjoy it. And of course, because I have the shawl, I had to have a matching hat because that's what you do, right? So I'm very happy now because I didn't really have any knitted hats, shall we say. I've knitted a lot of hats, but I'm very picky about hats. Like I said, I'm not a hat person, but I really do enjoy this one. So I highly recommend the pattern, and yes, I love cables. So that's again tied in knots, and I will have the designer's name under here. So yeah, the next hat I have to show you guys, I am absolutely in love with. It almost didn't happen because it is color work, but here we go. This is the Dyea. It's D-Y-E-A, and it is a hat by Caitlin Hunter, and it is a DK weight colorwork hat, and it is simply stunning. As soon as I seen this pattern come up for sale, I automatically purchased it because I thought it was so pretty. Now, I had started her cardamom coffee hat in the fall. That's a fingering weight hat, and it is colorwork as well, and it's not hard at all. I think that both patterns are very easy to do. It's just the fact that that one is fingering, and I end up putting it aside and I just haven't picked it back up. But since completing this hat, I am really wanting to pick it up now because it's just so much fun. So this has not been washed and blocked yet, but even still, I really am happy with the way that it turned out. This is technically my first finished colorwork hat, so I am super happy about the way that it turned out. So this was hacked slightly. I ended up, there's two versions of the pattern. You can do a folded brim, or you can do like just a unfolded brim. I knit for the folded brim by accident. I wasn't quite paying attention apparently, and I end up knitting this double. So I'm not sure yet. I believe I'm going to end up folding it up and making it folded, just because when I put it on, it's a little bit slouchy, too slouchy for my style. And the hack, I guess, is the top decreases here. There's plain knit rows in between your decrease rows, and I don't want to save exactly what I did because this is a paid for pattern, but I just hacked it slightly, because if I would have did it the way that it was written in the pattern, the hat would have been extremely slouchy, and I knew that I wouldn't have liked that. So yeah, it is what it is. However, I do love the hat, and the yarns that I used, I'm just looking at my pattern or my show notes here. I used all Knit Picks Swish DK for this. So the main color is just white, and the purple is, what is this? Okay, the purple is Amethyst Heather. The gray, which is right in here, is Dove Heather. And then I also, I don't know if you could tell, yes you can, you could tell there's fuzziness going on here. I stranded in Knit Picks Aloft Super Kid Mohair, and that's just in the white colorway. And I double stranded it with the white. I didn't strand it in with the purple at all, but when I did the gray section here, I stranded the Aloft Kid Mohair with that as well. And it's super soft and it's super nice. I was a little worried, I don't really use mohair, that it would be a little bit itchy, but it's not itchy at all, so I'm happy about that. And I added a beautiful little pom-pom on top of it to tie in with the purple of the patterning, and I love it. It is so beautiful. So that is the Dyea by Caitlin Hunter, and I would highly recommend it because it is definitely beginner friendly, and I couldn't put it down. It took me 2 days to make this. It's just beautiful. So yeah, I love it. So that's it for finished objects. I will now move on into works in progress. I do have a few of those going on right now, but I'm only going to show a few of them to start off with. Oh, okay, one more thing. I just saw it in my pile here. So I got a lovely gift. My friend Shelby, she is a knitter as well. She's my yarny bestie, and I've been enabling her. I always enable her, but I was gently pushing for her to make some fingering weight socks. She's been making worsted socks, and she knows the construction of sock knitting now. So I wanted to introduce her to fingering weight because, as we all might agree, fingering weight socks are so much better. So I gave her a skein of Knit Picks. Oh my gosh. I should know this, but the stripy, self-striping sock yarn from Knit Picks. And I don't know the colorway. It wasn't from the latest update that they did, or the line that they did. It was from the last Felici. There we go. Knit Picks Felici. So I ended up buying 2 skeins. I usually buy 2 skeins of the same color because I like to make my socks long. So I gifted them to her, and she knitted her very first pair of fingering weight socks. This is the Vanilla Latte socks. I don't remember the designer's name, but it is a free pattern here on Ravelry. And it's just a basic 6x1 ribbing, and it does have the heel and the heel gusset, and it's just a, I think it's just a plain stockinette type heel. And she did the matching toe that was in the pattern, and I think she did a wonderful job. I really like them. I was surprised because she gifted them to me, and I have been wearing them a lot. They fit me perfectly, so I really love that. I'm super proud of her. I got her very first pair of socks, which were a pair of worsted socks that I think I did show, or at least I took a picture and shared it on my Instagram. So I not only got her very first pair of socks, but now I got her very first pair of fingering socks. So I am super lucky. So thank you, Shelby. I love them. So I had to share those because I'm super proud of her. And then, since we are on the topic of socks, I ended up finishing a pair of socks. And I'm just going to take a minute to put them on the sock blockers here. I kind of have put socks on a back burner of late. I've been knitting all the shawls, like I said, and other stuff, so my sock knitting has kind of went downhill a little bit, but that's okay. But I love watching Kay and Dan from the Bakery Bears. They are one of my favorite podcasts ever, and they are highly entertaining and beautiful people. And Kay came out with a sock club back in November, I want to say, and it was the Miss Potter Sock Club, based off of the Beatrix Potter books for Peter Rabbit. So as soon as I saw the club come out, I had to buy it. So I knitted the very first pair of socks in that club, and they were the Jemima socks, and they turned out beautifully. These have actually been done since December. I think I finished them in December sometime, and I washed and blocked them. I have not worn them because I've been wanting to do a podcast and share them all with you guys first. That way, you know, you can see them in all their beauty before I put them on my feet. So, yes, it's got this beautiful little texture pattern here. It's a 4-row repeat, and it is super mindless. Super mindless. It's got a heel flap and gusset, and it uses her umbrella toe, which she does have in some of her other sock patterns as well, and I really do like it, and I'm excited to actually put these socks on and try the umbrella toe to see how it fits my foot. But yes, I really did enjoy these socks, and I would probably knit these again because they were a lot of fun. It was one of those patterns that a lot of people love knitting vanilla socks, as do I, because it's super mindless. You can do it pretty much in the dark when you're having a movie night, or in the car, something like that. Well, this pattern is definitely potato chip knitting for sure, because it's just mindless. So I believe Kate released just this week that you can actually buy all three. There's 3 socks in the club, and you can now buy them individually. So that is super awesome. The yarn that I used is Long Dog Yarns, and this is the popsicle stand colorway. And this yarn here for the heels and the toes is Knit Picks Hawthorne. I don't remember the colorway, but it's just like this tonal hot pink. And I thought the two of them worked together well, so yeah. I really love these. These are known as the party socks. Yeah, just because they're bright and fun, and they're party socks. So I can't wait to wear the party socks now. So there we go. Those are them. So now I'm going to move on into works in progress. I'm done with the finished objects. So I only brought 3 along with me. Like I said, I do have more than that, but I don't want this video being extremely long. So we are going to start off with another Caitlin Hunter pattern. Between Caitlin Hunter and Isabel Kramer, Hohi Locatelli, those are my top 3, Andrew Mowry. They come out with a pattern and I just want to knit it all. So yes, I am housing this in a Made by Me bag. I brought out my sewing machine and did a little bit of sewing within the last month. Made a few things. I will show you another one I made as well, but I have it lined inside as well. So in here is the, I think it would be the latest shawl pattern by Caitlin Hunter. It's the Cowboys and Angels shawl. And I just got that much started of it. But it's this beautiful texture to start with. And it is a triangular shawl. And then it goes down into garter stitch for the main body of it. You have some more of this texture, and then it ends in ribbing, I believe. And it's got some bobble stitches as well in there. So yeah, that's what I got so far, and I am really loving it. Again, it looks intimidating, but it's not that intimidating. It's actually a lot of fun. So that's what I got so far. The yarn that I'm using for this, to no surprise, this is the Broco Vintage episode apparently, because surprise, surprise, Broco Vintage worsted. This is in the Forest Floor colorway. And did I write the color number? I did. It's color number 51173. And it's like this olivey green heather. It's super pretty. And again, the Broco Vintage is like an acrylic wool nylon blend. Super nice. So, I can't wait to do a little bit more work on this. As soon as I saw the pattern come out, I had to purchase it and cast it on. And it's just been, that might have cut out. Yeah, my video just cut out. But it has been just sitting for a couple weeks because I've been doing other things, which I'm about to show you. But I ended up seeing just earlier today, I was catching up on the Chelsea Pearls podcast, and she did this beautiful Cowboys and Angels shawl in like a goldy mustardy type color, and it's so beautiful. So that's really inspired me to work on this. I probably will work on this tonight because yeah, it's just gorgeous. So that was Cowboys and Angels by Caitlin Hunter. The next one I have to show you is an Andrea Mowry pattern. And this one here, this is terrible, guys. I have my big old coat which is a cardigan by Hoagie Locatelli that I started last year. And I did start the, oh goodness, I started a colorwork sweater in the fall. It is a Caitlin Hunter pattern, I believe. Ingles. There we go. I started Ingles, and I am down into the colorwork section on it, but it got set aside because pretty much for the months of December, January, and even still now, my knitting mojo has pretty much been anything that's simple and somewhat mindless. So it kind of just got set aside, and my brain span just wasn't working for color work. I didn't want to put in that extra effort, so it just got set aside. I didn't frog it because I don't want to frog it. I actually want to finish it. I think it's a beautiful sweater. That being said, I needed a third sweater on the needles apparently, and I'm going to blame this one on Jamie and the Cozy Up girls because I totally got enabled by them. They have, I think Jamie finished 2 of them already, but Chrissy and Katie are knitting one as well. And I have to be careful because it will fall off the needles. But I am knitting a Weekender by Andrea Mowry. And this is what I have so far. I'm 6 inches away, roughly, from splitting for the arms. And let me tell you guys, I am loving this. It is super mindless, and it's all I've really been working on this past week because it is truly amazing. So, this pattern, and I do have a page here, picture of it. I'm doing something slightly different with it. So if I could get you guys a picture, I'm sure you guys already know what the Weekender looks like. It's pretty well known. But are you going to focus? There we go. There it is there. So it is like a boxy style sweater or a pullover, and it is worked. You do knit it right side out, so you're constantly knitting around, but the way that it's to be worn is with the wrong side facing out. And you can't really tell in the picture, I don't think, but right down the front of the sweater and the back, you do have like a slip stitch. I think you can see that going on. And then you have the details on the arms there. So, I'm doing mine slightly different. I am knitting mine round and around. However, I'm not including the slip stitch on the front or the back because I'm not going to be wearing it inside out. I'm pretty much just knitting it for the style of it. I am going to do the same collar, and I am going to do the details on the arms as well, but I just don't want to wear it inside out. I'm not sure. I think that it looks beautiful inside out, but it's just not really my style. So after knitting like that much, I was doing the slip stitch. I think it looked beautiful, but I'm just not sure I would really enjoy wearing it that way. So I ended up just frogging that stitch down, which sounds scary, but I used my crochet hook and I got it back, and I'm just knitting plain around. So I'm going to skip the slip stitch altogether, and I will have to watch at the top when I go to do the shaping for the sleeves and such, because I want it to be worn with the knit side out, not the wrong side. So, yeah. That's what I'm doing with that, but overall, I am super happy with it, and I cannot wait to wear it. So, yes. I would say that I've been knitting on this for a couple weeks now, and I did do the split hem. It does have a split hem on it. And I guess another hack you could say is that I knit the hem double to what it was written as. Jamie knit her second one double, and Katie is doing the same thing too. Jamie found that it wears a little short if it's just knit to what was written in patterns, so I definitely want my sweater to be on the longish side, so I decided to do double. And I'm going to see how it fits once I get up to the like the separation for the sleeves, if I want to add just a slight bit more length to it. I'm not sure yet, but regardless, this is what I have so far. I'm loving it. I am knitting this on 4.5s. That the pattern calls for a 5, I think. It calls for 3 different needle sizes. Let me see here. You do 2 different sizes for the ribbing, I believe it is. So it calls for a 4.5, a 5, and a 5.5. So for the ribbing, I believe I used a 3.75. And for the body, I should be using a 5.5, but I'm using a 4.5. The reason being is I did gauge swatch for this. And when I used the 5.5, I wasn't getting gauge. So I went down to the 4.5 and I was getting gauge. So I just decided to go with that. I don't think I'm going to have any issues with sizing. I think it will work out fine. But that's just how it ended up. So I think I noted that on my Ravelry page. But regardless, that's what worked for me with this yarn. And the yarn that I am using is Rocco Vintage in the Black Currant colorway. So it's this beautiful wine red. So yeah, love it. Love it, love it. I never said it, but my Twin It Up shawl, I end up doing the same thing. It was written for a 4.5 millimeter needle, and I end up using a 3. So I'm slowly learning my gauge and doing gauge swatches, obviously, because knitting this much of a sweater, I definitely want it to fit. So yeah, there it is. There's my weekender. Hopefully I can keep up the progress on it when it comes to sweaters. As you guys will probably know, I start them and then I can't keep up with them, but this one has been going along really well, so hopefully I can get it done and start wearing it. I just love it. So that was The Weekender by Andrea Mowry, and I have one more thing to share with you guys for today. So I ended up casting on a new shawl this week. I had no business casting on another shawl this week, but I did. I have, I've been wanting to do this one for a while. So again, you guys have probably seen this before, but this is the Scania shawl, and it is by Caroline Wiens, W-I-E-N-S. I will list this all below as well. And if you go over to my Ravelry page, I do have all this up. But the Grocery Girls ended up doing this on the series. I think it was something Needles. Off My Needles? I'm not sure. But they had a series, a few episodes on Craftsy, which is now known as Blueprint. And they did a knit along for this shawl 2 years ago, I want to say. And I fell in love with it. I thought it was so beautiful. So I decided to buy the yarn for it this past summer. And I really love the black and white version there. So you can actually buy the yarn off of Blueprint for this shawl. It's in the Cloudborne brand of yarn. It It is a fingering weight shawl, but you're holding the yarn doubled. So the effect that you're getting it by holding it doubled is that you're marling it, and I think you can tell by the picture here how the colors are marled. So the idea of it is you have 5 colors going from darkest to light, and holding, they have the colors listed as you, like how you're supposed to hold them together to get the effect. And the super cool part about it, you can see it more clearly in the blue shawl. It has this beautiful faux cable. It's a cable, but you're not having to use a cable needle to cable it, going along the edge. And then the super cool part, and I cannot wait to get to this part, is this beautiful fringe here. Somehow you undo the border and it creates the fringe for you. So I can't wait to see how that's going to go. But I love fringe, so I can't wait for that part. So the yarn that I bought, I'm going to go over the yarns first. I ended up purchasing mine from Knit Picks. I know that the fingering weight yarn, the straw fingering from Knit Picks, is soft, so I wanted to go with that. And I tried to pick colors that I thought were going to go together well. So to start off, I'm just going to move this out of the way. I got just a basic black. You only need 1 skein. Now these skeins are 231 yards. So for the darkest color you only need 50 grams, which is what these balls are. So I got black. That's my first color. My second color is Cobblestone Heather, which is like a charcoal heather. And something I've done is I'm marking, like it goes A, B, C, D, E. So I just marked it on the ball bands there. So if I get mixed up, then I just look at the ball band. So I got that. The next color I have is Ash, which is like a medium gray. And I have Dove Heather. This has got to be one of my favorite colors from Knit Picks. It's like a light gray heather. So pretty. So I got that. And then for my 5th color, my lightest color, I actually am using Cascade Heritage, and it's just a plain white. But it is a merino superwash yarn. So those are my colors. And this is what I have so far. I am knitting this on a 5.5 millimeter needle. I believe it calls for a 6, but I felt I was getting a better gauge with the 5.5. So this is what I have done so far. And it is coming along beautifully. So you can actually see those faux cables there. And you can definitely see how the colors are marling there. That's so pretty. The greatest thing is that I don't have to worry about weaving in these ends. So there's going to be a lot more fringe obviously than this, but you do not have to clip the ends. So you're not weaving in anything at all, which I think is amazing. Now I'm obviously going to do like a little knot on these so they don't actually come apart, but I haven't done so yet just because I don't know how this edge is being undone yet. So currently they're just hanging there, but you don't have to weave them in. So as you knit, you don't have to worry about putting these in because this is the edge that's going to come unraveled somehow. So there it is. I was a little put off at first because, especially with these colors here, this is color B and C. This is the cobblestone, heather, and the ash, and I just found that you don't really see the marling. You can't tell here, and you kind of have to look close at it to see it, but I wasn't sure about my color choices at first, but now that I've gotten this far, I'm happy with it. I just wish that I would have had a little bit more contrast. This is, again, B and C, so you can't really see any marling in it, but it's okay. I really do love how it's working up, and I'm gonna enjoy wearing it too. So this is one of those shawls that this is working up super quick. This is like 3 or 4 days of work, and not all day either. This is just something that I've been picking up in between my sweater and knitting on, so it works up super fast. And yeah, it does have some short rows in it for the turn. You knit it like this, you continue knitting up, and then you do some short rows to turn, and then you're knitting the border on. I haven't read it all the way through to see how it goes, but it looks pretty awesome, so yeah. Loving it. Can't wait to get it done. I've been wanting to do it for a while, and I was cleaning up my yarn shelf and I saw the yarn sitting there and I was like, it's time. I needed to cast it on. So yeah, that's that. That is all I have for right now. As I said, I have been working on some other things, but I don't want this episode to be super long, so I'm going to finish it there. I will try to be back in a couple weeks. I noticed that Diane from Suburban Stitcher, I love her. She has been doing a video every week, and she's been trying to keep up with that. I would like to do that, but I can't promise it. And I've promised before, so I'm not going to say that. But I'm going to try to be back at least every other week. And yeah, even if I don't have a lot to show. I think that's another one of my problems. I want to have a lot to share with you guys. And I'm working on bigger projects now, and they are getting progress on them, but it just doesn't seem like I have a lot to show for, so I put the podcast off. So I'm going to try not to do that. But yeah, my knitting has become a lot more monogamous lately, and I do like that. That's something I always struggle with, just because Ravelry and Instagram are so evil. They're wonderful, but they're evil. You see so many new patterns, and then you see what people's interpretations are with colors and yarns, and you just want to make them. So you cast on more than you can handle. I know we've all been there. But I also watched Sandy by the Lakeside, and she was saying that she was trying to be more monogamous with her knitting, and I really like the concept that she introduced. She is picking one shawl, one sweater, one sock, I believe it is, and one sweater. I think that's how she put it. She's trying to choose just one of those things to work on. So, and she's like working on them in between each other. So I've kind of taken up that concept. Currently, right now, I have the Scania, and I have the Cowboys and Angels. I also started another shawl as well. It's got quite a bit of progress on it as well, but I have 3 shawls on the go. But I'm trying to every week just work on one shawl. I have my weekender, so I'm trying to, you know, be more monogamous. That way I get more progress done on the stuff I'm knitting, and you actually see the progress, so it encourages you to pick it up every day and work on it more to get it finished. So I really like that concept that Sandy introduced, and I think if you're struggling with something like that also, it does work. It definitely does work. So it's something I would like to try to get better on this year for sure. So I think I am going to finish there. As I said, you can find me on Instagram. So the time that I have been gone from podcasting, I have been putting stuff, pictures up of the stuff I've been working on. So you can head over there to check it out. I ended up making a beautiful yarn doll. The doll was, it's actually known as the Little Yarn Doll, and it's by Mary Jane's Tea Room, and I just love that doll pattern. I ended up making one in the summer. You might have seen her if you were watching, and I made a second one for a lovely subscriber, and I won't say her name just in case she doesn't wish me to, but you know who you are. Hello. And she ended up asking me for one, so I made her one, and I did post pictures to my Instagram, and there are pictures on my Ravelry as well. So if you'd like to see her, you can head over there and check it out. But I really enjoy making it. It is seamless knit, and what I mean by that, like, you don't have, it's not knitted flat and you have to seam it together. You do have to sew on the head, the arms, the legs, but they are knitted like in the round. So that's one thing. I love knitted toys like stuffies and such, but I just don't like knitting them flat, especially with plain yarn, because you can definitely see a seam, or at least when I did it you could see the seam. I have to get better with my seaming skills, but yeah, I really love it. And I think she has another yarn doll that is the same way. It's knit in the round, so highly recommend it. She has some lovely bears and some other beautiful animals, and a lot of them are knitted in the flat, but if you don't mind doing that sort of thing, I highly recommend her patterns. They are paid for, but they are worth every single penny. You will definitely enjoy knitting them. They are a lot of fun, and they're very well written. So yeah, so I've been having a lot of fun with my knitting lately. I've been enjoying it all, and I hope you guys have been too. Again, I missed you all so much. I hope you've been having a great start to the new year. I hope you had great holidays, and I hope you're all doing well. So until next time, I will see you guys soon, and happy knitting.